directly, like the Internet of Thing, right? As you see. So this device is connected to the internet all the time, and the data can be accessed and analyzed remotely, basically. The general life cycle of AI, or any AI development looks like this. We have data, we analyze data, we model the AI algorithms, let's say like deep learning algorithm. Then we train them, test them, and deploy. Deploy is like something where, for example, in the cloud, we do all this testing and training, and then we deploy models so that they can be used afterwards. And then we keep monitoring that model, the deployed model, for any errors or thing, and then the life cycle continues. If there is error, then we take more data, or analyze again, model again, and train, test. The cycle continues. This is how generally it looks like. But in reality, what we do at Fourier Tech is something like this. It's the same thing, but just sophisticated. Um, in this case, we can see that all of those automated tasks are actually performed in the cloud. So what we achieve here, like we get all the data sets here, as we saw there. Then we have these programs for us, which are developed at Fogatech here. And we run all those tasks, all those automated tasks in the cloud. And we also deploy this thing, as we see here, in the cloud. So what happens is, like, you deploy this one in the cloud, and you get you can use those trained models, basically. The next thing here, I will show you some practical examples. I hope or sure that we have some time to do this. I will show you some, how do I get out of this? Yeah. Tell me if you are still able to see my screen. Can anybody confirm this? Hello? Can anybody confirm, please? I hope I'm audible. I mean.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, yeah, continue. No problem.
Okay, you see this convolutional neural network?
Yeah,
here?
audible. No problem.
Okay. So in this case, what we have is, we want to detect digits, like, if the digits are like this one, 0, or this kind of digits. In this case, what we do is we take this data set from them, we load the data set, and we see that this each and every digit has the resolution of 28 by 28, as it is shown here in this case, right? And what we want to do is we want to have this deep neural network, which is basically a convolutional neural network, and it has to output if the digit is one of 0 to 9, right? In this case, what we do is that we get this data, we analyze the data by visualizing it, let's say. We also check the number of instances for each digit, as you can see here. And we also can see the digit itself, how they look like in the pictures. Then we normalize this data. This is one of the nice thing here about normalization. The AI or this neural networks, they don't understand the numbers, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. They usually take the numbers from 0 to 1, like in points, floating points. So we have to normalize this data. So this is something we have train and test data, right? We have some training data, and then we have some testing data. We train this model Um, I mean, there are many details here. You can go through this. I will share the links if you want. But what you do is basically you train this data. This is one of the nice features we do with the AI, because many times what happens is that the data set is small. What we can do is we can augment the data. That means, for example, you have this picture of cat here. You can, crop the cat, the picture. You can move it somewhere. You can also rotate the picture a little bit. What happens is that you increase the size of data because you don't have big data, so you can augment some data, and this avoids overfitting problem when training, because if you have small data, it learns something from that data set, and then you have learn only from the data set, and if something completely new occurs to it, it will fail to detect, right? So in this case, the data augmentation helps to increase the data set and avoids overfitting. Then you train the data, the model basically. So feed the model is basically training. So you train the data and then you evaluate and you check if your model perform good or not. As you see in this case, the loss is the error basically, which should be minimized. And as you see in this training for 20 epoch, the red line, red plot you see here, the loss has minimized uh, quite extensively. On the other hand, the test accuracy here, as you see, has gone up more than 95%, as you can see there, right? So these are the two most important parameters usually in supervised learning, where you want to minimize the loss, that is the error, and you want to increase the accuracy, very general, right? And you have to monitor these things continuously when you are training the model. So there are some predictions here presented. For example, these are the correct predictions, like 6 is correctly predicted as 6, 5 is 5, 9 is 9. And we see that the model is working well. But then there are some wrong predictions as well. As we can see,
Sorry to
this
interrupt you, doctor.
yeah, yeah.
Are you showing your first slide or?
Yeah, that's what I was asking actually, if you can see my screen now. So that means, okay.
Some problem with screen sharing?
No, is the, yeah, I know what the problem is, but that's what I was actually asking, if you can see my
Yeah.
screen. But I think I have to say new share in that sense.
Okay. Mm, what to
So
do?
now you can see it.
Yeah. No.
So now
Yeah. Now.
you see the numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so then I miss all of this actually, right?
Okay.
But because, yeah, that's the question I was asking, if you can see my new screen.
Current slide.
Yeah,
Which
so it's
one?
not on the slide, it's in the browser, right?
Yeah,
That's,
we've seen it.
but you see these new numbers now.
Yeah, numbers we can see.
Okay, so this is what I was explaining actually. Like, you have those numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to detect those numbers. I presented this neural network here, where you have 28 by 28 pictures of those digits, and you have deep neural network, which is convolutional neural network here. And you have the output is here is the digit. If this number in the picture is 1, 0, what is that, right? And once we load the data, we analyze the data, we check um, the number of instances for each digit there. This is one of the big problem here, that we want to have balanced data. You know, the data set should be balanced. Like like if, let's say, 0 digit has only 4, 5 instances against 1 digit which has, I don't know, 10,000. This is not good scenario. You want to have balanced data. All the digits should be almost in the equal amount in the data set. These are the digits, as I already shown. We normalize, as I told you, kind of pre-processing, because AI does not understand numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 like that, but it understands numbers in between 0 to 1. So you have to normalize it. So you divide it by the biggest number in your data set, and you get the normalization numbers in between 0 and 1. So you have total training 42,000, and in test set you have 28,000. 28 by 28, which is the image size, and 1 is the last digit, which is class, let's say the digit itself. Um, so we train this data, and I think I was explaining this one, data augmentation also. If you have small number of instances, what you do is like you augment the data. You kind of um, rotate the image little bit, crop some part of it, and do to translate here and there, and this way you get more instances in the data set. Then you train the data set, whatever you have, like the model you created with the convolutional model. In this case, we already explained. And after you train this, you evaluate the model. In the evaluation, what you see is loss and accuracy. Loss is basically the error, and our aim is to minimize this error. In the first 2-3 epoch, as you see, it does not work well, but as you go on training with multiple epochs means like iterations, um, you you minimize the error, and on the other hand you actually maximize accuracy, right? So as you see in these two graphs here, the loss has been went down quite far, and the accuracy went up. It's above actually 95% here in this case. And once we have trained the model, we monitor this loss and accuracy. These are actually kind of basic fundamental, what you call, metrics in learning approaches to observe or monitor, where we monitor loss, which should be minimized, and accuracy should be maximized. Once we are satisfied with these metrics, then we can use those trained models for prediction. Now here in this case, we see that 6 is predicted as 6. So you see that there is true value and prediction. So prediction matches with the true value basically. But it's not always the case, right? Many times we also can have wrong predictions. So as you see here, the prediction in the first instance says 7, the true value is 9. But we can see visually the writing itself, it is really hard to say if it is 7 or 9 for human also, right? Or in the second instance, we see it's 4, the true value, but it is predicted as 9, right? So in this case, we can imagine that what is happening here. We human also cannot, or in this instance, as I'm saying here, the second one in this row, the prediction is 5 and the true value is 3. But as we see, it's a gibberish writing. Even we can't predict it. I mean, we also cannot guess the correct one. Or in this case, this one here, the true value is 4 and the prediction is 9. We can see it looks like 9 very much, right? So even for humans, there can be some objects or digits like these ones. Those can be hard to recognize. So basically and we see that these are the prediction where our accuracy or our model failed to detect the digits correctly. I think there are some other metrics explained here, but we won't go there. But you see the idea, and all these things is actually in the cloud. I don't know if you know Kaggle. This is one of the nice platform for hosting your online code, basically. So it's not only hosting, but you also train those models. There is another from Google called Code Lab, which also is useful for using online, training. So you don't need your device; you just need a browser, and you can enter there and um, start training and learning. So next, I wanted to share with you some sentiment analysis. Yeah. So in this case, sentiment, for example, if we see in the language, we have sentences like this one. I hope you can still see the screen. And the sentences are labeled if they are positive or negative, right? And then we can model them, and train again. So like training data set and test data set. And once we train them, we achieve certain accuracy. There is a lot of pre-processing in the language, for example, removing stopping words or removing some special characters. Those are not useful in the final training data set. So we do some pre-processing, and then we train the model so that we can get the results out of this, right? But the idea is same as we saw with the object detection in the digits, right? This is on another example. Actually, this is hosted in my GitHub live. In this case, we see that we monitor several metrics, right? And what we see is that we are able to detect several objects in the view. I think this is the one thing I was trying to explain you before, where AI can outperform human, right? So in this case, we see that in a instance of this image, we can detect almost everything in that image, right? So we can detect all the objects, like on the road also, we can see the motorcycles and all the persons are detected, which is useful in the autonomous driving scenarios. Or generally, object detection itself, which can be useful in many tasks um, like security cameras, surveillance, or other similar tasks. So now I think I had to, or yeah, this is the thing I was talking about, emotional dialogue acts. Actually, this the repository is public, so if somebody wants to access, it is all available in my GitHub repository here. Um, Feel free to explore if someone wants to. What I wanted to show specifically here is this graph about deployment in the cloud. Basically, what you see now here, as you can see, it is reactive, right? Um, the models, those are trained there, they are deployed online, and what you see here is the result. For example, now I can see that surprise are mostly rhetorical back channels, so this is one of the practical example which I myself has deployed in the cloud. Um, and we can see the results anytime online. This is thanking, which is always happy, and we also see it is 38.5%. So for example, 38.5% of happy emotion class belongs to thanking dialogue acts. So as I already told you, dialogue acts are like thank you. These phrases are classified in several dialogue acts, as you can see here listed on the right hand side. um, and here you see their analysis, like which emotion belongs to which dialogue act class. So this is another example of deployment basically in the cloud. So now I think I can go back to the slides. I'm sure now you can see this slide. We explore digit recognition with CNN, convolutional neural network. We explore a little bit sentiment analysis of the reviews. Then we saw the dialogue acts and actually the emotional dialogue acts. Now we will come to the point towards AI career alignment. If you want to go towards AI career, there are many opportunities, several positions. Mostly they are concerned with data. So as you see, the first thing here is the big data engineer or AI data analyst, and then you have ML engineers, but specifically where you are expert in machine learning. This is quite new, but very interesting and important because it's the business intelligence developer. They use AI models to analyze business. For example, as you see the sentiment analysis, um, So basically, the sentiment analysis can be done for products, and this data is very useful for business scenario to improve their product, to go beyond, and increase the, like, change the business strategies basically. So these people are really great in that area. So like if you do engineering in bachelor and you do MBA, I think then you can hit this kind of positions, like that, then it matches well. Then of course there are research areas like AI research scientists, robotic scientists, of course they are always there. And there are some typical positions like software developer or engineers. Those are good with software. They can start learning AI programming very easily because they are already aware of programming itself. And then there are some higher level posts like product manager or sales managers. They use this analyze data to inform their firm how to make changes and how to sell faster or more, those kind of things. Talking about background, as we already know, the basic degree is of course always required in any field given there, like engineer, computer science, robotics, physics, mathematics, and many more. You can explore this online to check about this. If you want to go a bit advanced, like to higher position, ME, MS, or MCA, PhD, like MBA, for example, in that sense, like for business intelligence developer, would be really beneficial. The skills required are programming, of course. This is the kind of fundamental requirement, I would say. The other thing is that actually this is on another thing. You don't need to know only one language. You can know any language like Python, C++, Java, or any other language of your choice. And there are, this programming toolkits or libraries like TensorFlow or Keras, or some other like PyCharm. Sorry, not PyCharm, PyTorch, which is another AI library. And they are available in several languages. Well, all you need is to know how to handle data. You need some basic knowledge of mathematics like calculus, algebra, statistic, probability. But very basic is also okay, because as we see that the main focus is on programming, and whatever mathematical model you create, you have to program it also. So that transfer learning, that skill is more important than the knowledge of the math or programming itself. So the transferring knowledge should be, or skill should be there, like adaptable. There are many free courses actually, on Coursera, basically, which I use mostly, or YouTube. You have a lot of things there. And most of the things in AI are open source, like, the libraries I mentioned already, TensorFlow or Keras or PyTorch, or whatever libraries you can imagine in AI, they are mostly open source. You can start exploring them, learn about them, and you can align yourself towards AI, I would say very easily, because it doesn't matter if you're a computer science engineer or electronics or any other like IT, for example. Um, all you need to do is just explore one more subject, which is AI basically. And for example, you can start with machine learning, then go in deep learning, and so on. This will help you align your career towards AI, I would say. So I would say that's all from me, and I think we have time for questions and answers. Please feel free to ask anything you want, because I mean, let's be honest, you can share with me anything you want, ask me anything you want. So over to you now.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the nice discussion,
Mm-hmm.
full of technical details. Must be or will be definitely inspiring for our students to go for that particular path. And now
Yeah.
I like to hand over it to Dr. Amol Bhatkar,
Mhm.
who will conduct next session of question answer and then vote of thanks.
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Amol.
You have to unmute yourself.
Amol.
Yes, sir. I am audible. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Honorable Principal, sir. Then our special guest, today's guest, Dr. Chandrakant Bothe, and all the HODs, as well as all the students. Good afternoon to one and all. It is actually the proud privilege for me to process this vote of thanks to this seminar, which was actually conducted very proudly and very efficiently and very informative for all of us. So actually, I thankful, I heartily thankful to our management, Sri Siddharnath Bondre sir, as well as our secretary, Sri Rahulji Bondre sir, and our principal sir, honorable principal sir, who always guided us, proposed us, promote us to conduct such activities. So thankful to all, as well as I also like to thanks Dr. Chandrakant Bothe sir, who conducted such webinar nicely, who actually introduced all the students with all, that means all of us, to artificial intelligence. Now the use of artificial intelligence, what is meant by artificial intelligence actually, it matters. Okay, so that's why I am really thankful to him, as well as I really thankful to Dr. R.B. Mapari sir, HOD of ASTC, because he guided and supported for this webinar, as well as I am really thankful to Dr. K.H. Vasesar and Dr. A.S. Kapsesar from Computer Science and Engineering and IT department. I also thankful to all the other staff members and all my dear students. Really, today we introduce ourselves with artificial intelligence, its application, its methods, and all these things. But the question is that for my side, I consider the importance of artificial intelligence when we achieve, when we consider, when we that means when we properly understand the data, the data means that information and the process of information. So the important part is how we gather the data and how we process the data. So this is the important, and as far as Dr. Chandrakant Bothe sir said, your C, C++, Java, as well as MATLAB, we can say that Python, these are very important programming languages right now. And the basic of all these languages, you consider, that means always consider the basic of all these programming language is similar. Same data type, somewhat will be changed. Same control statement, some will be changed or not. Some modification will, but the basic are same. So always consider that means whatever we are learning right now in engineering, it also matters. Chandrakant said, sir, that you should consider your education properly and then you go for further step. So it is very essential. And thank you. Thank you to all dear students. Basically, you are present here in such a pandemic condition. And I also thankful to all the supporting staff who make good arrangement to conduct this webinar here. Thank you. And with the kind
Sir,
permission from,
sir, hold on a second. Sorry to interrupt you.
yes, sir.
I request students, if you have some questions, you can freely ask to Chandrakant, Dr. Chandrakant, sir.
Yes.
Feel free to ask any kind of type of question.
No,
He's
no,
very
sir.
strong in the area, whatever he has delivered. I'm expecting lot many questions from you.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
me too.
One question that I already said here that I consider regarding the artificial intelligence or natural intelligence, two things are matter. The first one is the data gathering, and the second thing is how you process the data. So regarding my question is that when we go for artificial intelligence right now, so for artificial intelligence to gather the proper data, how we can gather the proper data so that we can process. It is my question actually, Chandrakant sir.
Actually, yes. So it depends on the problem statement itself, what kind of problem we want to solve with any algorithm like deep learning or machine learning algorithms. Once we have proper problem statement, for example, here at company, we solved some problems. Those are completely new. You don't have data set available online. So what we do is we really go there, take pictures, like in, let's say, vision scenario. We annotate that data by ourselves. We train the model, we do everything almost. So the main key here is how to, what is the problem statement, and accordingly deciding how to get that data. For example, in, let's say, if you want to analyze some Twitter messages, you will get to know how to use Twitter APIs to get that kind of data, and then analyze it and annotate, or do whatever processing we want to do afterwards. So yeah, basically you have to understand the problem statement to answer this. So yeah, I also expect many questions. I hope I answer your question, Bhatkar sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Sir, there are
Yeah.
some questions in the chat box.
Yes,
If
sir.
you
In
see
the
it,
chat box. Okay.
I request you to please go through it.
Okay. Okay. Which are the things you should know before moving towards AI? I think we already answered who asked this. The chat box is very small for me. Just a moment. Yeah, so Parth Trivedi asked me, which are the things you should know before moving towards AI? The things I think we already explained about this, the programming skills, the computer skills, and mathematics, of course. Even if it is basic, you can, gear up and start learning about it afterwards. And the adaptability, of course, to the new field, for example, and the problem solving skill itself, as Bhatkar sir already mentioned. Once you have the problem statement clear, then only you can think about how to solve that problem, right? How to get that data, how to process that data, how to deal with it, right? So dealing with new problem, that should be the key here. You should have that adaptive skills. Any chances to build small projects step by step? Manoj Marmat. Of course, it is possible. There are many tutorials already available actually. And if you ask me, you can email me at, actually, if you just visit bothe.in, you can find my contact, and feel free to write me an email and say AEC before in the subject so that I can recognize the email and filter it out easily. So just feel free to reach me out and I will tell you how to go step by step as well. Then I will, so I think it's too many things in the chatbot now. Yeah, what should method of learning from scratch, by learning, by doing, and theory in proper way? Is data science is related to AI? Asked by Prathamesh Golhare. The second question, yes, the data science is related to AI. but it's not AI. Because data science teaches you how to deal with data itself, or I think already mentioned the data structure and all that things, which is interesting because then you get to handle big data, and this is really important because one should have ability to deal with big data, right? You have millions of images, and then you have the models training those millions of images. Let's say I'm saying millions, but let's say even 100,000 images is a big amount, which I deal with sometime. So that's the thing. The methods of learning from scratch, there are many proper ways to do it. The first thing is, of course, doing proper education in, let's say, I don't know, master of something, where you get to learn the algorithms like ML algorithms and yeah, things like that, so that you learn it properly from some mentorship. And also, the very important thing is explore yourself, because that's the key here. All you need is the time and yourself. You have to explore, because this is the age of internet, and most of the thing, I think I already mentioned, they are open source. All of the things are available on this ocean of internet. You just have to find the proper stuff there and follow one little thing there, then start looking about that little thing, like go on adding to that. Don't go directly to, let's say, solving problem like autonomous driving. No, you don't want to do that. What you want to do is first how to recognize objects, how to segment, let's say, the roads. I'm just talking about autonomous driving now, but how to do that thing. So, go step by yourself, start asking small questions and enlarge those questions. The next question I have is, Chandrakant sir, I am Professor Vyavhare. Hello, sir. My question is Tesla car is AI? Yeah, this is a really interesting question. Certainly, in most of the cases, when we say autonomous driving car of Tesla, yes, it is using a lot of AI behind it. They develop, and the most interesting thing is that they only use vision, only or mostly they use only vision to recognize, because there are other autonomous driving approaches where they use lidar, other sensor, but this one with Tesla, they use only vision to recognize all the viewpoint what the driver can see, and they use a lot of object detection or segmentation and this kind of, I think I just mentioned those kind of things. So yeah, we can say the autonomous driving car of Tesla uses a lot of AI algorithm behind it. So the other question is, being a robotics engineer, what companies should I prefer to work for in India? Oh, in India. Sorry, I can't answer. In India, I don't know much of the robotics or AI companies, but yeah, I think you can find these answers online as well. Next question is the same, asking, and the career path for being robotic engineer. Yeah, as already mentioned, learn. Learn, like learning is the key here, right? If you do bachelor in electronics, it will not stop you being robotics engineer, because I remember myself when I did bachelor in electronics, but I choose one of the elective subject, which actually, that's a real thing, actually helped me change my career path. And and then you can of course have master programs, some certification program in robotics. I'm sure there are some in India as well. You also have those online courses on Coursera kind of platform, where you can actually earn a certificate out of this. And that will be really helpful for your career if you want to add up this into the CV. Okay, and how you achieve the position in AI field? Asked by Avinash Khare. Wow, how I achieve my position? I think I went to this path already in my presentation in my first few slides. I think as I already mentioned again, I started my robotics learning right from my bachelor in AEC. And then, of course, I juggle around, joining teaching in Buldana, then going to Pune for doing ME in embedded systems. But I did not find it helpful to follow my path. I was keeping applying for real robotics programs. Like I got master program in France in that sense. I got scholarship, and that's how I could do it, of course. So yeah, that's how I achieve my position. And yeah. So what else? I mean, it's really nice. There are many questions actually. Sir, can you suggest courses related to AI and machine learning? Yes, just go on Coursera, I would say. You will find many really nice courses. And if you are asking about certifications or something, I would say really explore about this, because you will find really definitely something about this. But the most important key, as I already mentioned, start learning by yourself first. Check if you can solve small problem, as I already mentioned. Try answering yourself small question, add up to that question, and you will have big question someday. What else? I hope next webinar will arrange for building projects on AI, machine learning. Manoj Marmat again. Yes, I hope to. Looking forward. Actually, I like the practical kind of workshop, instead of calling it webinar, if I call it workshop, then you will get to actually make your hands dirty and really work on some small problem, like, I don't know, doing sentiment analysis, and you will use your programming skills for solving that problem, and that's how you will help yourself to learn better, I will say. So really make your hands dirty and jump into the into the practical stuff, like real practice. So I think I reached to the end. There is one last, I think. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, he's saying just we need it. Okay, yeah, I agree. So I think I answer all the questions. If there are still any questions, or if my presentation was not understandable, please feel free to reach out to me. And I expect even more questions and more things from you, because I have been to the position for the students. I'm saying that during my bachelor I know nothing about AI, like robotics or anything, and during this time we were doing some robotics project. We were participating in the robotics events like robo fights or robo racing kind of thing. We were making some robots, just what comes in our mind, like we were making one arm for pick and place. I mean, it's like just what we did from what comes to intuitively, like what came in mind. Okay, this should be like this should be joined there, this should be there, and then there should be motor to pull this thing. We just did it intuitively, but there are really proper ways to do that. And now I see it like learning about dynamics, basically, uh, like physics of the robots, how we move our hands, and how we can make robot move their hands. It's really different thing. It's not that straightforward always. So but the good thing was that we were exploring those areas even during our bachelor. Even we had no knowledge about any of those fields when we are working on it. I think that's what I can say, that's what make me what I am today, I guess. So just keep exploring. That's the key, right? Keep exploring. So I think I think this question asked by Arti Marquez, data scientist, is related to AI. I think I will already answer yes. It is, but not entirely, because on top of that, you also need to learn some machine learning or deep learning algorithms to make use of data forward, afterwards. So yeah, thank you very much. If any question, please go ahead to ask verbally as well if you want to ask. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, doctor.
Mhm.
And with this, I would like to close this meeting. Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you.
Before we close, I would like to extend my thanks to all the staff here attending this webinar, because I was not expecting this amount. Like it's crazy for me also, and getting called myself doctor and sir on the time. I mean, you can just call me Chandrakant. All the staff members. You don't need to be polite for me in that sense. Um, Actually, there is last question. I mean, it's not question, but just one thing. Part three, we just put IIT. I don't know if he's asking question or suggesting this. You don't need to go to IIT, to go learn these things. Just believe me. Just do your stuff. Just learn by yourself and start exploring. So thank again for asking and mentioning that word also in this chat box. So yeah, as I said, really thankful to be here and really thankful for the opportunity to talk all of you, all the dignities here and all the students, my friends here. Really thankful for everything. I think this was really nice session, and this is signing out from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chandrakant sir. Thank you. Thank you.
So if we are done, are we?
Yes.
Okay, so I wish you all the best for the students if you want to find your career in AI and robotics field, and for the staff, of course, I'm really thankful again, and really nice that you encourage students to move forward, and we can see again if you want. If we want to attend again another webinar or workshop, please feel free to reach out. Yeah.
Yes, sir. In the
Thank you.
coming time, we will surely remember you. We will surely call you. We will trouble you to know you.
Oh yeah,
You
just
have
don't
that right. We will call you again and again.
just don't
As and
forget
when
to
we
mention
require.
AEC in the subject. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. We will share your
Thank you.
details
Thank
with
you.
the students so that they can contact you.
Sure,
Thank
Mapai
you.
sir.
Thank you very much for giving your
Yeah.
valuable time. Thank you, sir.
No problem at all.
Signing out.
So stay safe, stay
Yes, sir.
healthy in this pandemic, and I say goodbye.